Welcome to a very special Solid Verbal bonus Q&A. I feel weird introing the show when Ty is here. Ty, do you want to intro the show?
Bienvenidos a la Solida Verbal.
That was
Is
good.
that, is that correct Spanish?
Yeah, I think it was
I looked
close
that one up
enough.
on I looked it up on Google Translate, and that's what they
Yeah.
tell me.
First
It's
of all,
welcome to the Solid Verbal in Spanish.
you actually looked it up. Bienvenido. Was that for tomorrow or was that for tonight?
I was going to use it for tomorrow, but I figure since we're here, I might as well. Let's just empty the clip. It's our first video show in a long time.
You know what, Ty? I dig it, and I dig you. How do you feel
Thank
about
you.
that?
I appreciate that. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Tell me where you are right now.
Well, I am currently in the confines of the mysterious home address, not
Yeah,
the
somebody wanted to know in the questions, in the questions, wanted to know your address.
Yeah, this is deep in the bowels of Allentown, Pennsylvania, the white-walled apartment that
Yeah, is there anything on your walls?
I've added nothing to the walls here since you were visiting, I guess, however long ago, 2 years ago. So
Yeah, almost.
this is still the same as it was 2 years ago. The only difference is that I have more stuff in here now, and I have fewer places to put that stuff. So what you're seeing behind me is really the only
Um,
unclothed corner of my room.
yeah, I see a dresser and the mini Notre Dame helmet,
Yeah,
which
where are you? So it looks like you're somewhere.
I'm in the bowels. I'm in the bowels of SB Nation, Vox Media. So this is the actual room that I broadcast from. This is
Oh,
accurate. I'm usually gonna have studio access to sort of be a little bit more lit and look nicer.
okay.
But this is the actual room. You see the cushions. I usually make a fort out of those cushions around my laptop and microphone to make a little makeshift studio. Okay,
So
I
now
will.
I have one more question. Are those blinds,
Please.
or is that like a projector for an overhead
No,
or a
they're
screen for an overhead
blinds.
projector?
They're blinds. The problem is it's reflected. So that's the building that I look across and am distracted
Okay.
by people in the kitchen and doing things.
Okay.
That's what that
Okay.
is. So if the reflection weren't there, I would leave it open. It's just a reflection. You can't even see the weird people doing their job. The reason why we are convening this bonus Q&A is because we really like doing the Q&A portion of our show over the summer, the emails, the Facebook
Yes.
questions, whatever. And we don't always get a chance during the season to answer and discuss really valid, I would say most of the time, smarter points and questions than we can come up with.
That's right.
That is what our users, the wonderful people watching this, can come up with. So, and we've done some of the Facebook comment stuff, but not everybody has Facebook, not everybody has Twitter. So we're gonna put this on our site, and it was my idea to do this visually because you are a beautiful man, Ty.
It's good. By the way, I haven't seen your face in like a year and a
Right?
half now. It's been a while, so
It's
it's
been
good to
far
see that
too long.
you're still eating, you're still grooming. So these are all very positive
Yeah,
things. Just
I
the
was.
first couple minutes.
Yeah, I was told yesterday, and it was totally true, that I had forgotten to shave the soul patch area.
Okay.
It's all right now,
Yeah,
but it was problematic yesterday. So it's good that we have this visual communication.
it is.
So we have these questions, and normally it'll look nicer, but whatever. How fast is your connection right now? You happy with your speed?
Sure. Did the best I could.
Good.
Did the best I could. Yeah.
First question, and I
Yeah.
like our little resumes here. That was a point of I really wanted
Yeah,
to.
So you coached Idaho. Was
Yeah.
that the Dennis Erickson era?
No, that was Dan Rubenstein era. That was
Okay.
that was the Dan Rubenstein era. I've never been to Paris, but my dad always makes jokes about, oh, he studied at the Sorbonne, so I wanted to throw that in
So
there.
what is? Let me. Oh, I was at K-State from '83.
Yeah. You've done a
Okay.
fantastic job keeping the weight off, by the way.
So that means Bill Snyder was only 65 back then.
Yeah, that's true. He was just
Okay.
entering his twilight years. All right. First question comes
Yes.
to us from Josh Hernandez. Hernandez, as what your friend John Miller would say.
Yeah.
Is there, do you expect more teams to use their best athletes both ways, like Miles Jack and Shaq Thompson? Also, what are some sneaky condiment food pairings flying under the radar?
Ooh.
So, the first part of his question, do you expect athletes who are exceptional at both offense and defense to be seeing the field on both sides of the ball?
Do I expect to see more of it because?
Yeah. Adoree Jackson at USC has done a little bit of that as well because of their success. It certainly can be a recruiting tool, I would say. I think ultimately it's problematic just because an injury affects depth in two different places, and that seems like less than ideal. But in certain situational places, goal line, short yardage, if you have a guy who can run powerfully, maybe a little bit like the Ducks did with Colt Lyerla a couple years ago.
Right.
I think that's, and like UCLA did with Miles Jack, but now I think Shaq Thompson. Shaq Thompson is starting at running back for Washington.
I saw. So I don't think you're going to see more of it because of Miles Jack and Shaq Thompson or Adoree Jackson.
Right.
It's not going to catch on like the Wildcat did a couple years ago in like the NFL, where everyone saw a few teams do it with some success, and then everyone decided, let's take our best athletes and throw them in the Wildcat. I don't think you're going to see that here. I still think it's on a case-by-case and desperation-based sort of system. I wouldn't expect to see an influx of this now unless you see more athletes come up who are really gifted on both sides of the football. Most of the places that are getting these kinds of athletes are deep enough across the board that they're not going to need to have to do this.
Right.
But I
think it'll be almost a two-step thing. Like we'll see, like almost like we saw with Charles Woodson, like we saw with Devin Hester in the NFL, where you have a defensive player who's so good with the ball in his hands, say on returns, that he is so productive that we have to figure out a way to get this on an end around on 3 carries a game. I really don't see it catching on 15 to 20 carry guys. I don't know. That seems.
And I mean, look, if you've got a gifted athlete, you really want to trot him out there for 25 carries. Do you really want to do that to?
And then also play safety.
Right. Do you want to do that to tire him out and potentially make him more of an injury risk? I don't think so. So I think it's a case-by-case basis. It certainly depends how desperate you are.
Yeah.
You need a guy and you can get him from the other side of the football. But no, I'm not expecting this to catch on in any great way anytime soon.
He asked about a sneaky condiment pairing. I will sort of revise this a little bit because obviously you are not the most experienced in the way of condiments. Is there a condiment that you have discovered in the last year that you are sriracha?
Yeah, that was a big one for me.
Yeah, sriracha's a big. So they use sriracha. A lot of places use sriracha in a verse like sriracha mayo or aioli. It's a pretty versatile use. So sriracha's your answer.
Can I tell a sriracha story?
Please.
So, some friends and I recently went to Red Lobster's Endless Shrimp. Have you ever partaken? I don't know. Have you ever gone to Red Lobster during Endless Shrimp?
I've never been to a Red Lobster.
Really?
Ever.
How is that possible?
I don't know. I've never been to a Red Lobster. I'm not against it. I just have never been.
This is why we're doing this show, to get the deep cuts.
Yeah.
I went to Endless Shrimp with some friends. And one of the types of shrimp that was offered there, the sriracha grilled shrimp.
How long ago was this?
This is about 2 weeks ago. This is right before I went to Mexico.
And which friend is this?
These are multiple friends from the mysterious day job.
Okay.
And we decided.
Endless Shrimp Night.
Yeah, we decided. That's exactly what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Got some of the sriracha grilled shrimp. My Lord, was that hot. I was not. I thought this was.
Really?
I thought because they have the rooster on the bottle that this is going to be, a friendly little kick. No. This was the real deal in terms of sriracha. And that was the first time I think I had it.
Can you handle heat generally?
Generally I can, and in Mexico I did, but the sriracha thing caught me off guard.
Oh, wow. Okay. I was going to say my underrated condiment, I don't know if it's technically condiment, chimichurri sauce. Yeah. I think it's great. I'm a big fan of the chimichurri. That's my underrated.
Any other suggestions here on his question about?
No. He just asked us our condiment food pairings. I would go.
You're way more versed in this than I am.
You know what I would do? Salsa instead of ketchup and fries. I'm anti-ketchup. There's a place in Austin. I think we went together. It's called Casino El Camino, and they do like a salsa verde fries with a melted cheese.
There that was to die for.
Yeah. So the salsa fries, I think that's the food sauce pairing. I like that a lot. Is there a list of possible outcomes that would result in 0 SEC teams being included in the playoff? Yes, there is. Everybody beats each other up in the West, and Missouri wins out after Georgia lost to Florida. Missouri winning out, and I'm not sure if they need to beat somebody, then Georgia lose again. Whatever the case may be, if Missouri ends up in the SEC East spot in the SEC championship game, and they beat an unimpressive 2-loss team in the West, then I can see a situation. In a weird, sloppy game, I could see a situation.
Wow,
especially with... Go for it.
You're saying no SEC playoff teams at all?
Zip.
Wow.
Zilch.
Do you mean that, or are you just saying it?
No, I mean that, and I think it's completely improbable, but that would be the situation. Missouri's a team that got shut out. They're not going to put them in the playoff. And it would have to be paired with, Oregon looking dominant, TCU looking dominant, Michigan State looking dominant, Florida State looking dominant, some sort of combination of those teams. I could see it happening.
Who's to say, though?
Wouldn't bet money on it.
No, God, no. Who's to say that the playoff committee, though, is going to be so sold by the conference champion from any conference that they're going to put that team in the playoff? Because I don't think that was ever in the bylaws here. I think they've got carte blanche to pick.
Well, no, they do.
They are the 4 best teams.
No, one of the things they're using is championships won. That is an actual metric. It doesn't mean that they're only taking champions, but it is something that they're looking at.
I mean, they're also taking total yardage. They're taking all sorts of metrics.
Yeah, no, it's all ridiculous.
For what
Who knows?
They might look at the conference champion from the SEC and think it's a sham and decide to give it to Alabama or Auburn or Mississippi or Mississippi State. So I don't see it happening. I don't see there's any way that could possibly happen. There are certainly enough representatives on that playoff committee that they're going to look to the SEC. I think it's widely assumed that it's the best conference in college football, probably in front of the Big 12.
Right.
And at that point, there's just no way you can leave them out in the cold, regardless of how many losses the best team from the SEC West has.
Yeah. All right. That's fair. Sanders Martini. No idea if it's a real name, but is Deshaun Watson the most impactful freshman in college football this year? And his non-college football question is asking about our thoughts as using a sporting event as a date venue.
Wow.
Taking a date to a sporting event. All right. The cursory list that I came up with most impactful freshmen, Deshaun Watson's certainly there, but his injury has certainly, I guess it's an impact that he's been hurt, and they've looked so bad on offense. Sure. Brad Kaya's been fantastic. Nick Chubb, Royce Freeman, Anu Solomon, as a granted redshirt freshman, went to Eugene and beat Oregon. Who else around the country?
Samaje Perine.
Oh, Perine for Oklahoma, absolutely.
I was actually going to list off some of those guys in like a death match format against Deshaun Watson, but those are, I believe, all of these guys are true freshmen. I think if you expand the list, since he didn't really specify, if you expand,
Solomon is a redshirt, yeah.
Okay, if you want to go redshirt freshman, you have to throw J.T. Barrett in there.
Absolutely, yeah.
Trying to think who else. I'm sure there are people we're missing. Deshaun Hamilton from Penn State's been pretty good in the receiving corps, despite the fact that Christian Hackenberg has 0 time to throw the football.
Right.
Probably most of those names on the list. Nick Chubb, by the way, we should mention again because he has been outstanding ever since Todd Gurley has declared ineligible. And as we've said on the show, there are a few things better than a reliable Chubb if you're a guy like Mark Richt. So something we should keep our eyes on here as we move forward to see how he continues to progress for Georgia. Beyond those names, though, there are a bunch of guys from small.
Yeah, Fournette has had moments.
Out there. Fournette, yeah.
He's had moments. A couple Florida State receivers have been good. Yeah, that seems like it's about it. Probably. Oh, and there's a kid at Western Michigan, which, by the way, Jarvian Franklin, I want to say his name is. Holy hell! Holy hell! That's just worth mentioning. Next question. Yes. This comes from Matthew Early, I think a longtime listener. Considering how Notre Dame's strength of schedule has collapsed from what many thought was a strong slate preseason, will Notre Dame be driven to joining a conference? We always get this question every year, the Notre Dame conference question, to help ensure inclusion in the college football playoff. Now, I'm not going to ask. I really don't want to talk about whether they're going to join a conference, but is there a case to be made that Notre Dame is taking a bigger chance with scheduling and strength of scheduling by sticking to what they're considering their traditional rivalries with Stanford, USC, Michigan, whatever, well, not Michigan anymore, Michigan State, teams like that, and then the sort of half entry into the ACC? Do you think that is it a net positive? Is it a wash and they're going to get by on their brand, or do you think it could long term be a negative?
Well, I think after seeing the first round of playoff rankings, they're not going to get by on just the brand.
Yeah, and that's the first round. They haven't played the meet, but yeah.
They haven't played the meet, but they're not going to get by on the brand. It was very apparent that the playoff committee is going to value resume. And so I actually had the same question. I was very curious to see how this would affect things moving forward for Notre Dame. Now, they're kind of a member of the ACC, which means that next year they'll get to play Clemson. They'll get some of the teams from the ACC.
Not a full member, not a conference championship eligible team.
It's sort of like half pregnancy.
Right.
I'm not a huge fan of that decision for them to align themselves with more of the ACC teams, but perhaps some of the ACC teams will rise and elevate the profile of that conference. I am curious. I don't know if we can answer this right now.
It's difficult.
We need to see moving forward how the ACC progresses. It could be that 2-3 years from now the ACC just doesn't have a high enough profile, and Notre Dame decides they want to try and jump ship and go elsewhere. I don't like what I'm seeing now for the next couple seasons, but Notre Dame has scheduled Texas out of conference. They've apparently tried to do some things that can at least give them a better resume than what they've got this season, but the question's there, and it's going to be there for a couple years to come.
You ever take Kate to a sporting event early on while dating?
No. God.
Why not?
I don't think the sporting event would necessarily...
Does it not bring out the best in you?
It brings out the best in me, but I don't think she'd see that as something that boosts my resume.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're happy with what it brings out in you, but you could see how people could misinterpret the best of you.
So here's the problem.
Yeah.
Here's the problem. Not everybody is dating or married to or about to be married to a female who is really into sports.
But I don't think a sporting event needs to only appeal to somebody that's into sports.
Absolutely. But here's the problem. The problem is if you pick the wrong sporting event, and if you're into said sporting event, you're going to get a lot of questions. A lot of questions. And the risks outweigh the potential gain there. Because how do you handle those questions? Do you get annoyed? Do you just playfully try to answer them? I don't know if I trust myself to not get annoyed.
You would feel like you would get a little bit condescending and irritated.
It may be just inadvertently. Even if I didn't want to be, there's a chance that, how many points is a touchdown worth could eventually grade me to the point where it's like, yeah, this is going to show more bad of Ty than good of Ty.
I think you touched on something important, and this goes either way, male, female, giraffe, whatever. Early on, I would say don't take somebody you care about or could potentially care about to a game that you're going to be invested in. But I think it's a fantastic idea. Like, I went on a date a couple years ago with a girl to a Mets game, like an August Mets, Tigers, whatever it was, and great people watching. You learn about, you can do like you have food conversations, you have people conversations, you can talk about your history playing sports, whatever. It's good fodder, I would say, for early dating conversation. And that you really should go to a sporting event you care about with somebody you care about once they are very clear on what you are all about as a human, because it's important that they see all sides of you. But I would say early on, stick with an event that you don't have an emotional investment in.
So something like minor league baseball.
Sure. Well, I mean, I'm speaking to somebody who has appeared in a minor league baseball television spot.
I'm on the Jumbotron.
That's the way to go. Local celebrity, Ty Hildenbrand, the Iron Pigs.
Used to be, yeah.
So I think that's the move.
Yeah.
Why is everyone only talking about TCU? This is from Brian, talking about TCU winning out and forgetting that if Baylor wins out, they win the Big 12. Baylor has tough games against Kansas State and Oklahoma, but they were the number 4 team in the country at one time and lost a weird game on the road against West Virginia. I will tell you why. And I'm going to use the trope that some people like, some people don't like. What's your favorite Baylor win at this point?
There's so many to pick from.
There's so many to pick one. They didn't play anybody in September. The problem is if you as a team are not giving anybody reason to believe in you, giving you reason to watch your games, it's very difficult to make an impression that impresses people early on to say, oh, this Baylor team is good because of X, Y, and Z, and they might struggle with A, B, and C. Whatever it is, Baylor at this point, they beat TCU, which is impressive as all hell. They lose to West Virginia. So right now we're like, well, they barely got by a really good team in a shootout, and they lost to a pretty good team on the road. They struggled against Iowa State. They struggled against Texas. I think two teams that people are just sort of on at this point at best. Two teams with losing. Does Iowa State have a losing record? I assume they do. So. Yeah, Texas does. So basically at this point you've shown yourself to be up and down against really good teams and average against below average teams. So the sort of cachet and belief in your flashiness and sexiness and sort of ability to be in these conversations is kind of middling until you beat somebody and somebodies in a row that are good. So they have a chance in November, but that's why they don't have the reputation right now and have the conversation right now, I think.
I think it's a schedule thing. I mean, Baylor's schedule is very backloaded, and because of that, we haven't had a whole lot of reasons to talk about the Baylor Bears. I mean, we have, but in terms of actual national relevance, resume relevance, it just hasn't really been there outside of that TCU win and the West Virginia loss. They're going to have some tough games now as we enter into November. I think we'll talk a little bit more about Baylor and their chances to win the Big 12. TCU, on the other hand, this coming weekend against K-State, if they don't lose that game, they're not losing. They're going 11-1.
That's tough. Yeah, they got Texas.
They've already gotten through the meat of that schedule, and I think because of that, because of some of those wins, and particularly the way that they've won, they've been fun to watch. So we've just got more to talk about with TCU, and the tiebreaker at this point seems like it's so far in the distant future that unless you're a Baylor fan or someone rooting against TCU, I don't know if it's something that's really on anyone's radar.
Yeah, if the Baylor brand is points and putting up stupid numbers and yardage and points and then struggling to do so against Iowa State and Texas, then why would I tune into a meaningless game?
No,
and talk about a team that's not doing what we expect of them, fair or not. I mean, they beat up on Kansas. Yeah, great. Exactly. Next question from Walker, outside of Tevin Coleman at Indiana. Who do you guys think is the best and most exciting player on a team that is likely to finish the season with the sub-500 record? Let me twist and revise that a little bit for our own purposes. We'll say best player on a bad to average team. So maybe a team that finished 7-5, 6-6, 5-7, somewhere in there. I've got a few. Any names jump out to you?
Two that jump off to me. I've done no research for any of this, by the way.
Please, why would you?
Two that jump out to me. First is a homer pick in Christian Hackenberg. Now, Hacks had a horrible year.
Right.
He's had a horrible year. I don't think you can look at the stats this year and take anything away just because the O-line's been so terrible. But he's a good player. He's going to get better. He's one that jumps out to me. If he had a better team, he would definitely be better.
Yeah.
Another is Pharaoh Cooper.
Oh my God. Yeah. They'll probably they'll probably finish right around 500. Holy hell.
Yeah, I mean, they've got, I think, 4 wins now, so they can get to like 6-6 by the end of the season. South Carolina's been a bad team. The defense has been horrible, but there are some pieces on offense there that you really like, and I think you have to start with Pharaoh Cooper. Dylan Thompson's been pretty good this season.
Yeah, he's had moments.
Cooper for me is probably the main one that bubbles to the surface.
Yeah, Jakeem Grant at Texas Tech. John Harris at Texas, a couple of guys on the big offenses in the Pac-12. Seeing Connor Halliday go down was pretty awful, but just in terms, I don't know if he's exciting, but prolific and exciting to watch Washington State games because at any moment he could just throw for 400 yards in a quarter.
Right.
Couple of the receivers at Cal, they're right on the bubble of bowl eligibility. Chris Harper, Bryce Treggs are really good. Seo Lufau at Colorado. He's a quarterback that has kept Colorado, in games. Outside of that, the Big Ten, I mean, you mentioned Hack. He's sort of, I don't know if he's exciting.
See, that's the thing. That's the problem with, like, a drop-back passer. It's tough to really achieve exciting status unless you're leading your team.
Marquise Williams, your boy at North Carolina. Your team. Sex team.
I can't talk about North Carolina anymore. I'm done.
There's a couple guys at Mizzou. The little guy at Mizzou, and his name is totally escaping me, but Mizzou could win the East, so who knows? Yeah, I think it probably does start with Tevin Coleman just because he's been so prolific. Next question, Gary Strange. I really hope this is his real name.
That's a fantastic name.
Why did Arizona drop so far, and why didn't Georgia drop nearly far enough? Non-football question. I'm growing a big beard, and a coworker repeatedly and vehemently comments on how disgusting it is. And he says, parenthetically, it's not disgusting for the record. I think she just has issues about hair. How do I get her to stop caring so much about my face and mind her own damn business? So, first question, why did Arizona drop precipitously where Georgia didn't?
The answer, of course, is SEC bias by ESPN, right?
SEC bias!
Yeah.
SESPNCEC bias.
So, okay, they drop in the polls.
Yeah.
First off, which poll are you talking about? Are you talking about playoffs? Or are you talking about the AP?
I really stopped paying attention. It wasn't the playoff one because the playoff one comes out in about 2.5 hours.
So don't worry so much about the AP poll because that doesn't mean anything anyway. I do think that there is some inertia there for Georgia because Georgia plays in a better conference. People weren't ever that sold, at least not ones that we talked to.
Right.
No one was ever really that sold on this Arizona team being the kind that could outlast a full season in the Pac-12.
Right.
So I think that's got something to do with it. They suffer a loss. Boom, this gives people a reason to vote Arizona way down in the polls. That seems to me to be the most likely scenario.
Yeah, I mean, the issue with Georgia is they lose to a bad South Carolina team and they lose to an average, talented Florida team, I would say. I don't know if there's a more accurate way to describe that. A Florida team that I think has a top 10 talent team, top 12 talent. So it's more respectable to lose in the way they did. The win over Oregon for Arizona was fantastic, although a lot of people look at that game, and I don't think I do, with an asterisk because of the offensive line. Everybody gets hurt, everybody wins, everybody loses, whatever. And it's just one of the things where they're so new, where you sort of believe in Georgia, fair or unfairly, and everybody wants their team to be perceived correctly, and unfortunately, you can only do what you can in front of eyeballs, and Arizona doesn't have the eyeballs and doesn't have the reputation, and Georgia does. And they shut out Missouri, I believe, on the road, and there's just something to be said. And Arizona really, they scored on their first drive, I believe, against UCLA. I don't know, I can't imagine you watched a lot of this game, and they looked bad on offense. And not performing on offense a week after UCLA gave up 30, however, to Colorado,
right?
It's not a great look.
Well, and you know, you mentioned South Carolina when you were talking about Georgia, and I thought of another question.
August SEC East champ South Carolina.
Right.
Yeah.
Is there any team in the country that was or that took you longer to realize what they really were than South Carolina? What I mean by that is
yeah, I understand.
You know, South Carolina came in and there was that huge game on opening day against Texas A&M. I came home from work early because I wanted to watch.
Believed in Texas A&M for a long ass time.
Yeah, I mean, there are some teams out there that just continue to get the benefit of the doubt.
Mm-hmm.
South Carolina's case, I think they're one of them where if you really knew then what you know now, you would have seen the writing on the wall and realized this team kind of sneaky sucks. And then, boom, it just hits you in the face.
Yeah.
They just suck. They might go 500. Is there any team outside, let's say those first two, Texas A&M and South Carolina, where it just sort of took you longer to come to grips with what the team really was?
No, I mean UCLA took me a long time, and they're starting to look good in somewhat bunches, I guess. Washington, I believed in for a long time. Like, their offense will come around.
Stanford? How about Stanford?
Stanford was one of those teams where you feel like they did that one thing excellently. They played defense, and they were beat up a little bit before the Oregon game, but yeah, Pac-12 and the SEC, probably more so the Pac-12, is you believed in teams a little bit too long. That's probably the reality.
You did. So he also asked a beard question here.
Yeah. How do you're not a beard grower.
I'm not a beard grower, but I do know a prolific beard grower.
And can I ask you,
yeah,
is he somebody, and I'm assuming it's a he, is he somebody that is particularly confident about his beard?
Very confident and
exactly.
Very, very self-aware of the beard.
Sure.
So here's what he did, I think, to combat this, because
Does he keep it clean? Like, is the neck relatively clean?
this is what I thought was brilliant in terms of his beard PR campaign.
Okay.
Here's what he did.
Work friend?
Work friend, very good work friend.
Mm-hmm.
I believe a baller.
Nice.
And a fellow podcaster. What he was adamant about was when people would talk to him about the beard, he would right out of the chute mention all the different things he was doing to the beard to keep it clean.
I dig it.
All right, so what he would say is like if someone would say, "Hey, John, I like your beard," he would then follow up with, "Thanks, it's taken me a while. I put conditioner in it every day to keep it soft."
That's the move. It's taking care of it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. If you're able to show up front that you're going the extra mile to keep that beard soft and clean and friendly, then perhaps the coworker might change her tune a bit.
Yeah, the laziness beard thing is dumb and it's stupid, and just you really should take care of it. But if you're growing a beard, I say you really don't need to care about what people think, unless this is somebody that you are rolling around with under the covers. Just let your beard flag fly, and just move on from there. Doesn't matter what other people think. If you like it, if the people that are important to you in your life like it, just move on and find a great sandwich, get some sauce stuck in there, and just live free, die young.
Just go for it, man. Life's too short.
Next, Patrick Kelly, how much faith do you put in Vegas odds? Is Mexican food the best food, and why is it yes?
Ooh. I like Mexican food, Dan. I had some Mexican food.
Did you? I want you to save. This is a tease. Save your food experience for the audio show tomorrow.
Okay. I can do that.
What are your top 3 ethnic foods?
Top 3 ethnic foods. I got to go Italian first because, contrary to popular belief, I am not Asian.
The proof is right in front of. I am hanging out with an Asian man.
Right. So Italian's 1. I would put Mexican 2nd. Huge Mexican food fan. 3rd, I'd probably go Thai food.
Has your name right there in it.
No, not because my name is Thai, but I would probably go 3rd, being Thai food.
I think I would go 1 Mexican, 2 Japanese, and 3 Italian.
Okay.
That's where I land. But I'm trying to think if there are any other ethnic foods that I particularly care for. And I know that sounds weird for me to say care for, but do I care?
There's a chance I've not eaten more than those 3 of ethnic cuisines.
So that's the entire list.
Yep.
So it's the AP top 3 poll that we just went through.
That's right.
This is the final question. This is from James. Does your viewing situation of college football ever involve any music? For example, do you mute the broadcast and play Van Halen or something like that? No.
Absolutely
never any music. I really don't either.
I'm not big into the music thing. Like, some people are really gung-ho.
Like music is a trend that may go away.
Right. I'm not
the music thing.
I'm not big into noises. No.
Right.
I love music. I'm not big into music while doing, like, other things that wouldn't traditionally have music. So, like, a lot of people shower with music on.
Right here. This guy.
I can't do it.
Really?
Can't do it.
Oh, man.
Some people go to the bathroom with the music on.
I don't
need it.
Unless I'm trying to cover up an audio situation.
Some people will mute, like, their video game, NCAA 14, whatever the last one was.
I'll do that with podcasting.
Yeah, some people will do that. I can't.
Really?
I'm able to multitask, just not
full focus.
Yeah, I can't do it. So for me, no, it's not something I'll do. On occasion, I've muted a broadcast to put on a different broadcast on the radio, but never to go music in place of the actual commentary. That's just not for me.
Here is my final follow-up.
Yeah.
You've had some time to digest, to form opinions around, and think about in a critical way Taylor Swift's album 1989.
Oh, wow. How much time do we have on this?
As much as you'd like. No, Google's got server space upon server space upon server space.
It's still free after the first hour?
Still free. 1989.
Yeah.
Initial thoughts. You heard the 3 singles before the full album dropped. Shake It Off, Out of the Woods, and Welcome to New York.
Yeah.
Your opinion of those 3 singles, your opinion of the album, how does it compare to previous work?
Have not listened to the album yet, although I did see you uploaded it to the Dropbox, I believe, illegally.
That may or may not be true.
Okay. So
that wasn't. That was for our friend Caitlin, who was the fiance of Ryan Nanny.
Okay. Well, this is thank you, Caitlin.
Yeah.
I mean, you're doing God's work. Shake It Off is a jam. Can we just?
Yeah.
It's like scale of 1 to 10. That's like 9.8.
Wow, that high in the context of pop music, yeah.
I don't care if that compromises any masculinity. I'm all in on.
T Swift transcends gender, Ty. You should know this by now.
He's 9.8. We talked about Welcome to New York.
Mm-hmm.
And my initial thought was that it was just another song to make New Yorkers feel like they're more important than they are.
We don't need a song to think that, Ty.
No, I'm aware of that.
Yeah.
I've since changed my tune on that as well. It's one of those deals where I was immature to make that comment. Now I've listened to it a good.
You're the bigger man, Ty.
A good dozen times or so, and it's not quite Shake It Off territory, but I probably put it somewhere in the 7.5 range in terms of pop music.
Sure, you're not changing the channel if it comes on.
Like now, you're a transplanted Californian living in New York.
Angelino, yeah.
Is this giving you a sense of pride to hear that song now in your head? I know you've downloaded the album.
Oh yeah.
Where do you rank it on a 1 to 10 scale?
The album as a whole?
Yeah. No, just that song, Welcome to New York.
Oh, I think it's probably like the 4th, 5th, 6th best song on the album.
I haven't listened to the whole album yet. I've just heard those 3 songs. And
Shake It Off is great. Style is great. This Is How You Lose the Girl is really good. Okay. Out of the Woods I like a lot. This is a great tip for Out of the Woods. If you don't like it, this comes from Dr. Jane.
Yeah.
Put it in your headphones, put it loud. Out of the Woods gets a lot better.
Loud.
Yeah. Listen to it with some volume.
Why?
With some dBs. I don't know, I guess it's an engrossing experience. Much like the Solid Verbal.
Okay. Yeah, I mean Out of the Woods is like
Are we out of the woods? Are we out of... Here, my biggest problem with the album is it gets a little bit too electronic moody at times.
Yeah,
one guys from Fun worked on it, and it's very clear, and the sound of Fun doesn't necessarily translate to T Swift. But overall, it's a good time.
Yeah, Ryan Tedder from One Republic also had a hand in some of these songs. I'm a Ryan Tedder fan.
You are a Ryan Tedder man. I
like One Republic. Yeah, Out of the Woods to me, Fiance Kate had to explain it, and
what did she explain?
She explained the symbolism with Out of the Woods, and actually there's no symbolism.
You're a lucky man to have her.
The hidden meaning. She's my translator when it comes to pop music and all things entertainment. And she was very adamant about what it meant and how it had significance in her life. And she's a powerful communicator, Dan.
That's the impression I've gotten.
So once she described to me what it meant, then I came around on it a little bit. I still rank that one significantly lower than Welcome to New York and Shake It Off, maybe in like the 5.5, 6 range. Still a good song.
The Thai food of the songs you've heard on that album.
I think that's fair to say.
Yeah.
So I will listen to some. I've heard Style. I've heard Blank Spaces. I've heard some other ones. I'm gonna need to go through this like 10 more times before I'm in a comfortable spot with my pop music.
I think you need to fashion a Google Doc algorithm to really figure out where everything stands.
I could do that. You know that
I very well know that. That's all I got. I think this is a fun time, Ty. If for no other reason.
Yeah.
Maybe we won't even put this on the website and tell people we did this. Maybe this is just for us.
I mean, that's
a you and me thing.
Like a voyeuristic thing, yeah.
I look forward to doing more of these. How about that?
We could do like if it's still free in like a week or 2 weeks, we could continue doing this and like with different questions maybe.
Oh yeah, I think we could do that. I don't think we're gonna answer the same questions every week.
Okay, that's good.
I think that'd be a terrible idea.
Yeah, it's just the same 10 questions every week.
So Ty, aside from Tevin Coleman,
right?
What Give me some players that you think could play that are really good on bad teams. All right. I think that's literally everything I have to say for the day. It is 5:47 p.m. And what's for dinner tonight? That's my last question.
Dinner is across the street at Wegmans. I just figured out how to use.
Shh, don't tell people where you live.
I just figured out how to use Apple Pay earlier today.
Yeah, you told me.
I sent you an exuberant IM on GChat.
I saw somebody use it. Yeah.
So I'm gonna go back over there and see if I can confuse someone else when I ask them how do you use Apple Pay.
Mm-hmm. Do they have Apple Pay at Wegmans now?
They do. It's one of 220,000 point of sale whatevers that accept Apple Pay. So
what's for dinner? What's you going $6, $8, or $10 meal?
I might go salad bar tonight, Dan.
Oh, you're detoxing from Mexico.
We're detoxing from Mexico right now. It's
I need you to get tight. Tight.
Yeah, it's gonna be a concerted effort this week. We had a lot of things we don't normally eat. A lot of cheese.
Shh, save it for the show. Save it for the audio show.
I'll save it.
A lot of mucho queso.
Oh, mucho queso. Yeah, mucho queso. Right. Yeah.
Maybe that's what we'll name this video. This will be mucho queso will be the name of the post on solidpurple.com.
Okay, that works.
A lot of cheese. Yeah. All right, Ty. Just because I haven't heard you say it in a long time, where can people find communicative places for the Solid Verbal?
Okay. People can find us at solidverbal.com, also facebook.com/solidverbal, twitter.com/solidverbal. Look for us on, did I say Werble?
Yeah, I think the point came across.
Twitter.com/solidverbal. Look for us on FanCred. Also, this week, we had a lot of voice messages this week that just went to like a monkey waiting by a Google server.
We listened, but yes.
Yeah, I mean, they were there, and I heard them all, but we didn't put the reverbs together because of our situation.
Right.
So 408-VERBAL-1, that's 408-837-2251 if people want to get in touch with us. And we're still in the process of figuring out the whole Google Plus thing. Now, I created a page that I found out earlier today is not where it should be created. So, that one's on me. Like, I don't like to make or admit that I make any technical issues.
It happens.
This was a serious technical issue, and it's all my fault. So we're going to figure out where the Google Plus page – I can't talk. It's been a long day.
Google Plus.
We're going to figure out where that page should reside, and then we'll send people a link to that as well.
Fair enough. Ty, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Dan. This has been fun.